Chapter 7 is simply titled Psychedelia. It is a vast and complicated term for much more than just mind-altering drugs. Psychedelia was a critical element to every aspect of the 1960s youth counterculture, which included the concept of a mind-expanding trip that encompassed and stimulated all the senses. By the summer of 1967, the psychedelic scene was in full bloom. A festival titled the Human Be-In, held in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, California, was seen as a meeting of the tribes. All people from all walks of life eager to embrace the counterculture attended this festival to hear the beat poets like Allen Ginsberg, music by local Bay Area bands Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead, and partake in massive amounts of free LSD. This event and the convergence of over 100,000 counterculture youths on the Haight-Ashbury neighborhood of San Francisco made this city one of the important psychedelic centers. The motto of the Human Be-In was turn on, tune in, drop out. The term turn on meant to turn on to the new counterculture, and is also contained in the Beatles song A Day in the Life off of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club album in the line, I'd love to turn you on, sung by John Lennon in an otherworldly vocal style. Another important city center for psychedelia was London, England. Social establishments like the UFO Club hosted numerous LSD-infused music performances, performance art shows, and light shows. Bands like Pink Floyd and The Soft Machine were frequently part of the trip experiences at this club, and were both known for extensive light shows to accompany their brand of psychedelic rock music. One of the many elements in psychedelia directly influencing music was the trip concept. Everything in addition to the music itself was contributing to the participants' overall trip. Therefore, the cover art, the lyrics, the concept if the album was a concept album, and of course the music was part of a holistic trip experience. The Beatles album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, was intended to be a whole trip experience. The album art itself earned a Grammy Award. It was the first gatefold album, the first album to include all the lyrics, and it is considered the Beatles' masterpiece. Since the Beatles were no longer going to tour, the Sgt. Pepper's album had to represent them completely to their enthusiastic Beatle fans. Musically, it contains extensive studio techniques and production elements that were not able to be performed live in the late 60s. One had to experience the full effect of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band as a record album from first track to the final track. Most music from this time period displays the influences of psychedelia. Even the blues-based Rolling Stones recorded their own attempt at a Sgt. Pepper's type of album, in Their Satanic Majesty's Request. The title was based on the wording of a British passport. Although the flower power peace elements apparent in the Beatles' epic did not translate for the Rolling Stones, and critical reception of the album at the time was not good. The album has since been reevaluated as a significant window into a transitional time for the band. Combining their blues-infused music with acid rock were bands like Cream and the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Hendrix lived in London and made an impression in that psychedelic scene prior to returning to his home country, the US, and capturing American audiences. In addition to the expanding club scene, outdoor concerts thrived in psychedelia. The Monterey Pop Festival of 1967 introduced Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Otis Redding to national audiences for the first time. The British band The Who and Jimi Hendrix destroyed the stage in their own respective ways. Woodstock is considered the most successful free concert experience, despite the rain, lack of toilets, and apparently some bad brown acid going around. Numerous musical festivals occurred throughout the country and in England. Some were successful and relatively peaceful, some were not. In 1969, the Rolling Stones were the headline act at the Altamont concert in the Bay Area of California. This concert was riddled with violence, culminating in the stabbing death of an 18-year-old African-American fan. Since the Stones organization was the primary organizer, they were blamed by the public for these tragic events. Also during this culturally rich time, the radio airwaves were expanding as well. The AM dial had always been the place for popular music, but as listeners wanted more than a 2 to 3 minute pop song, album-oriented rock stations arose on the FM dial, where disc jockeys played sometimes entire sides of albums. FM radio was not initially restricted to the one-song pop format of AM radio.